There we go. We are live. Hello, and welcome to Sunday School Carnivore. Today is August 24th. It's actually my mother's birthday. You know how you never forget those dates. My mom passed away a few years ago, but I
Oh,
always remember that day, special day. And George is not with us today. He is hopefully not lost in the air like I was lost at sea when I was traveling. But he's going to have he's in the middle of an amazing adventure in my country, the United States. And where is he, Stephanie? In
Wyoming.
Wyoming. He's being a cowboy.
He's being
So
a cowboy.
I
Absolutely.
can't wait to hear him. I love his angle on things, and he's just I love him talking. He's the best host. So when he comes back next week, can't wait to hear his story. We have to dedicate some time to hear all about it. So we have a special guest today, Amy Perrin, who's going to share with us her uh, carnivore journey. She is a type 1 diabetic, and I'm anxious to hear how healthy she is. She lifts weights. She's amazing in strength, I've heard. So we'll hear from her. And then if you have any questions or comments, audience, if you're watching, for myself, for Stephanie, or specifically for Amy, or anything pertaining to type 1 diabetes, please type them in the comments with a QQQ, and we'll do our best to address those. And let's get started by just kind of going around. And we only have 3 of us here, which is it's kind of nice. We can leave our microphones on when it's just 3 of us. And we can introduce ourselves. I'll start. I'm John Laspina. I'm the Carnivore Teacher on YouTube. I'm also on other social media platforms. I've been carnivore going on 3 years. I was low carb before that. Total, I started about 6.5 years ago and transformed my health, lost some weight, eliminated my inflammation in my lower back, so back pain disappeared. My atrial fibrillation went into remission. My skin cleared up. My gums and teeth got better. My mood improved. My emotions. The list is long, but that's what carnivore did for me. So I'm staying on this way of
Woo-hoo.
eating because it is. I mean, I made teachers to the effect, t-shirts that show that I'm a carnivore teacher. I'm not going back. I can't. You can't unring the bell when you learn about nutrition and what food does to you, positive or negative. So I'm so excited to share every week with people and on my channel how eating properly can help you live your best life. So that's me. Let's go to Stephanie, and then we'll do our guest.
Hello, everyone. It's Stephanie Taylor at Happy Sexy Health. And I, like John, also went carnivore. And it really changed my life because I was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer, quite a serious diagnosis. And I'm feeling better than I ever have on the carnivore diet. And now we teach the benefits of primal eating along with my sister Nikki. And we help people to reverse their type 2 diabetes and be happier, healthier, and sexier as they age. So over to you, Amy.
Well, hello. As John said, I am Amy Perrin. Um, Boy, it's really hard to know where to start. But I'm going to start a little bit present day and go back. So I am 71. I've been a carnivore for almost 7 years, since November 2018. Um, and I was diagnosed, now I'll go backwards. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 16 years old. And I started reading about health and nutrition after I graduated from college at age 22 because I was a serious student and I had no time for anything other than, I was an art major, so it was a involved education. And so as soon as I got out of school, I started reading about nutrition. It was the 70s, and vegetarianism was very popular. Um, Health and nutrition was really popular in the mid 70s. So um, I became convinced after reading a lot of nutrition books that you could heal anything. And even though the medical profession says that you can't heal type 1 diabetes. And back then it was called juvenile onset diabetes. And it's when the beta cells in your pancreas get killed by something, either an autoimmune disease or an attack from a virus or a toxin from the environment. So I'll never know what caused it, so it doesn't really matter. But I became very involved with trying to find an answer. And what I finally decided through a lot of research was that I would just stay and be the healthiest that I could be, just in case they ever figured out how to heal it or cure it. So that's what I've done. So I've been on my carnivore story is so different from everybody else's because it wasn't like I was asleep and didn't know anything about diet. I'd been researching this for many, many years before I found carnivore. So I was kind of relatively healthy. I spent years as a vegetarian. Then I spent years, I found very low carb with Dr. Bernstein in 1996. And that was after 15 years as a type 1 diabetic. I was suffering mostly in my skeletal system. I was suffering with frozen shoulders, frozen hips. Um, it was really hard for me to move at all. I was getting ready to buy a cane, and I was only 42. And then I found Dr. Bernstein and very low carb and intense insulin therapies. And after I went very low carb and started taking 5 shots a day instead of the one that I had been taking, I got really healthy and all my skeletal issues disappeared. And I was really happy and excited. But in the background of my mind, I was like, but I'm not healing. I'm just kind of, yeah, my health is okay, but I'm not healing it. So then I found out about the raw vegan diet and how some people on the raw vegan diet were healing things. And so I tried that and I jumped into raw veganism. And I did that for 7 years. I had a raw snack company. I sold raw chocolate. I was a big deal. I wrote a book. I thought, I threw away all my pots and pans. I was into it like major. That's how I get when I get into something. And then all the people who were in this raw vegan movement, we all started losing our health at about the same time. People who had problems with fertility, their teeth. That was my husband. He had problems with his teeth. I just had more skeletal issues. It must be my trigger. I don't know, but I was having sore joints and things like that. So we all jumped into the ketogenic diet and local foods. And my husband and I got really interested in the local food movement, and that was a lot of fun. And so, once again, though, it wasn't really healing. So, even though my health was pretty good, um, I was only healing to a certain point. And on keto, I got really pretty healthy. But when we found out about carnivore, so my husband has since passed, but at the time we were on a trip and we were traveling while he taught art workshops, painting workshops. He was a famous artist and I was his famous model actually for 36 years. But anyway, that was our life. And we traveled all over the world teaching these painting workshops. And, when you're in a car traveling, you don't really have anything to do. It gets kind of boring. So you listen to YouTube. And at the time, there were only, it was 2018. There was only a little bit online about keto. And we kind of slipped into this carnivore thing. And we were hearing all the Joe Rogan podcasts with Sean Baker, Michaela Peterson, and Jordan Peterson. And my husband says, I'm starting tomorrow. And I said, well, I think I'll wait until we get home. before I start. But it was like this could be healing. Maybe this is what I'm looking for. So, and at the time, there was only one other YouTube video about carnivore, and it was negative. So, anyway, he jumped in, and I jumped in as soon as we got home. And my history shows that when I jump into something, I jump in. So I got really serious right away. And I've been trying to figure out how to heal since. I have lowered my insulin requirements by quite a lot, and most type 1 diabetics are on more insulin than I am, and I am very healthy. I do not work out with weights. I use my body as my weight, but I do work out every day except Sunday, and I try to get 10 miles of walking every day. If I'm traveling, it's impossible, but most days, if I am home, I'm walking 10 miles every day. So that's basically it, I think. Look, I
That's a
did that in
lot.
10 minutes.
You did that fast. That's pretty amazing. Do you wear a continuous glucose monitor so that you know where you do? Okay.
Yep, right
And
there. Yes.
but
I've only
and you,
had it for 2 years. I had to get it after my husband died because he would often wake me up in the middle of the night, and I didn't have that anymore. So yeah, I got this as soon as I could get on Medicare.
okay, okay. Do you have an insulin pump, or you just use that and decide with how much to put in?
No, I use syringes and vials. Yeah, it's
Okay.
It's called MDI, multiple daily injections.
Okay. You have like a short acting and a long acting, and
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Wow. All right. That's and you use your own body weight as resistance
yes.
instead of you don't use bands or weights. All right. Well, you look amazing for the age that you said you are. I don't know if it's the lighting or the fact that I'm on camera only, but I would have lost a bet. I would have lost a
Well, if you were in my presence, you would be able to see it because I have distinctive body wrinkles. I look good for my age only because I've stayed active. And I've never colored my hair. And if you were here, you would see there's plenty of gray in it, but it doesn't really show up on camera much.
All right.
But my activity level keeps me looking young. And I've always not been afraid of trying something new. And I think that's a big part of it as well.
I'm finding a common thread here when I talk to people like you who are like I am too. When I do something, I go 110, I go all in. And some people think I'm crazy because it's like, oh my gosh, John found something. That's why some people won't listen to me because they think,
Yep.
oh, we remember when he was into this other thing and he was crazy for that. And now he's into carnivore and can you, but a lot of people who are abstainers, moderators and abstainers, we are that's how our brain is wired. We go all in, we buy in, and we do all the research and we write books and we throw things out and we learn. I find that that's how I just learn so much when I allow myself to be submerged in what I'm learning. So, and thankfully this, and I'm sure you can agree with me, this is the best thing to go all in on because it's our health, it's nutrition, it's food. I don't see it as a fad or a hobby. This is life, and we're feeding our bodies and our brains properly. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. What are your thoughts, Stephanie?
Oh, I just loved Amy's story because it's breathing life back into yourself. Now, I think you, John, and I have both been vegetarian, vegan at times. And Amy, you did it for years. And goodness me, raw vegan as well for
Yeah.
years. All of that cooking, well, not cooking, but preparing of the foods to be able to eat them raw. And all of that only to have, your husband's teeth, late husband's teeth nearly falling out, and all of your raw vegan friends, basically rotting from the inside out. And that is what happens to us. And people wonder why we're so evangelical. It's because your body starts rebuilding itself from the inside out. People, of course, marvel when you lose all the weight. And as I always say, I went from a UK size 20. I think that is a US size 16 to a US size 6. And it was a UK size 20 to a UK size 10. And people, that's what they notice. But what happened was the inside healed, and then the outside could release that extra weight. And the healing of your body and your mind begins almost from the day you start. We work with people who've never heard of this way of eating before. And somebody who recently did our 21-day reset, they said that within 3 days, he felt the difference, because he feels that's when all the sugars and inflammation is beginning to leave the body, and your body immediately starts working better, and you can feel it in yourself. So I think the thing that one of the things that impresses me most about Amy's story is being a type 1 diabetic means that typically your life can be shortened by 10 to 12 years. Now, Dr. Bernstein showed a way that that needn't happen at all, and himself lived a very long and healthy life. But not only have you done that, Amy, which I take my hat off, but you've also done, I thought you were actually lifting heavy weights because you look so ripped. Show me your muscles, Ames. Look at that. At 70 something. What's your age, Amy?
71.
71. Wow.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
well done. And I'd love it if you tell to us a little bit about what can people do as an older person if they want to, have enough muscle tone to live a lively and independent life like you do.
I mean, for me, I've always been active. I can't remember a time when I wasn't. Although I don't love going to a gym, and I don't love paying for a gym. So I do things like push-ups. I do 100 push-ups every day, except for Sunday. I take one day off, but I do 100 push-ups, and I do some sit-ups and squats and things like that. And I actually use there's a guy called Mike Chang, and he's he's Asian, and he has a video out there that's 12 for 12. So he has these 12 exercises that keep you functional. And there's things like punching and reaching and squatting, things that you need to age. And I love it. He's not older, but he kind of, that 12 for 12 is perfect for people who are aging, so that you'll always be functional. And that's one of my goals. I want to always be functional. If I'm going to be here, I want my brain. That's why I'm carnivore. I want my brain to work. But I also want my body to work. I don't want to have people take care of me. I live alone now. I've got to be able to do everything for myself. I went and got water from a spring this morning. I drove 16 miles to a spring that flows out of the side of the road in a pipe, fresh spring water, and the bottles are 5 gallons. They weigh 40 pounds each. I filled them up. I put them in my car. I drove back home, and I brought them into my house. I want to be able to do that. Before my husband died, he was doing it. So I didn't know. There's all kinds of things that I can do now that I never did before. When my husband died, I didn't even know how to put gas in a car. I didn't even know how to turn my TV on, because he was one of these wonderful men who wanted to do things for me, other people too. He was like a saint. But he took care of me way too well. So there's all this stuff that I had to learn after he was gone. And I'm doing pretty good, and I'm just like, I'm determined to be able to take care of myself until the day I drop dead.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's I think of a book that Peter Attia wrote. I think it's called Outlived. And I read it's real thick. It's a wonderful book, talked a lot about what you mentioned about doing certain movements and exercises that we need to do as we age, because we have to be able to lift suitcases in an airport at the age of 80 or 90, play around with our grandkids, doing motions and things, and, getting up off the ground without pushing with your hands, all these little things. He talks about that in his book. So you're on the right track, and you're doing all the things that you need to do so that you're self-sufficient. And my gosh, you certainly look extremely capable and healthy for sure. We have a question from Rockin' Keto Amy, a different spelling, Amy. And she says, nice name, Amy. Did you find your hair got darker after carnivore? And thank you for telling your story.
I don't know about darker, but I did in the first year, I had quite a bit of gray. And in the first year of carnivore, it definitely turned back to blonde. And I've posted that picture. I have a comparison picture of me from 2009 with quite a bit of gray hair to 2019 with just all blonde. Since then, it's been, 6.5, almost 7 years. So I do have plenty of gray hair, but it did go away for a few years. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I've heard stories that people their hair color changes sometimes back to normal or partially. I've heard stories where people have thicker, fuller, richer hair. Mine is male pattern baldness. It's never coming back. It's just the way I lost it in my early 20s. So it's the way that it is. But carnivore absolutely makes your body function at its optimal best. And that includes hair, skin, and nails for sure.
I will say that it's thicker now. When
It
I
is
was
thicker.
when I was keto, it did seem to fall out quite a bit, but on carnivore, it has thickened up. I think it's the thickest it's been. So yeah.
And I've heard that too, that when you first start out, a lot of people lose their hair because, the hair, it's almost like the rings in a tree, it will fall out. And then because you healed yourself, it comes back, but it comes back thicker and fuller and richer because you're now nourishing your body. So the older part of it that wasn't nourished as well wants to die out. So that's kind of cool. We have another question there, Steph, if you want to highlight it, from Rock and Amy. And it's, Amy, do you have a channel? Oh, good. My husband is 14 years older, and he does everything for me too. He's a handyman, lawn care, house fixer-upper, snow blowers. I don't know what I would do if something should happen. And well, you if you don't have it, I guess you're like, what am I going to do? And you figure out how to do it. I mean, how did that feel when that happened to you right away, when your husband was gone and you had to do all these things? Did you just jump in and try it all?
Boy, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Well, I was not prepared because because of the type 1 diabetes, we had both assumed, and he was in excellent health. He was thin. He did 70 push-ups on his 70th birthday. He was really healthy. And then he got diagnosed with colon cancer, and he was a carnivore. That's one of the reasons why my kids won't listen to me about the carnivore diet. But anyway, that's a long story that we don't need to get into now. But when he died, I wasn't ready, and we had not planned anything. I lost my house right away.
Oh.
It took me probably 6 months to find somewhere to live. And it's a long story, but I knew I wasn't going to give up. So I just kept stepping up and doing what needed to be done. And I guess that's just, I'm kind of stubborn. And I think that serves me well.
And Amy, we've got time, for the long stories.
We do. Well, this person also wanted to know, tell us the name of your YouTube channel.
Oh, it's called Brisket Boomers. And the reason I named it that, actually, it was named by my daughter, who is now 40. And she had the idea. All my kids, all three of my kids, were trying to help me decide what to call it because I knew I wanted a YouTube channel. The main reason I started it was because I had friends, some who were older than me or some close to my same age. And it's specifically this one guy that was a friend, and he was somebody that my husband also knew. And his health was suffering. And I kept trying to talk to him about the carnivore diet. And he would say, well, I'm on a healthy diet. I'm doing what my doctor wants me to do. And he wouldn't listen to me about carnivore. And that kind of broke my heart because there's so many older people out there that they're afraid to go against whatever they hear their doctor say. They're afraid to go out on their own and be brave, but that's what it takes. And I guess because of the life that I've lived, I've disagreed with doctors since my diagnosis. They told me one good thing they told me is never to eat sugar, but they also told me to eat 4 slices of bread every day and to eat high carbs. And I knew they were, even at 16, I knew that they were wrong. Because if a diabetic has a problem with carbs, why are you telling them to eat carbs? And I knew that if I stayed on the diet that the doctors had given me, that I would be fat. And I didn't want to be fat. I was 16. I was into looking good. So I kind of forgot the question, but I guess I'm making my
Just the
point.
name of
I
your
don't even
channel.
know.
You told us
Oh,
the
my
name of your
name.
channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Brisket
Brisket
Boomers.
Boomers. And I have a lot of, most of them, I haven't interviewed anybody yet. I just get on there and talk about what's on my mind. And I have one of my most popular videos is about carnivore and dementia.
Mm.
And that is one of the biggest reasons that I stay carnivore, is because I believe, and there's a lot of research and studies about mostly the ketogenic diet, but also the carnivore diet is helping our brains because of the high cholesterol in the diet. It helps our brains stay healthy. And that's what I want.
I agree with you. The higher cholesterol, the healthy cholesterol, not the oxidized, low, small density ones that get oxidized because of all the sugar and the carbs and the stress and everything. But the higher cholesterol, the big fluffy, the high HDL, the low triglycerides, all of the ratios that make us healthy, that absolutely creates an environment for our brain to thrive. And if we can get a lot of EPA, DHA, and the fish fat, very good. Fatty fish fuels the brain for people who are worried about dementia. So important. Great point for anybody who's aging. We want to make sure that we can fight off dementia. I mean, a lot of people are worried about that. I know to you, I sound young. I'm 60. To me, that sounds old when I turned that number. Just turned 60 a little while ago, but I don't feel it, and I don't expect to feel it on this way of eating. And I tell people, they laugh at me, I will live to be 120 because that's the actual length of a human life. If everything and nothing gets in the way and we take care of ourselves, that's supposed to be our biological ticking clock that we live that long. And that's my goal. And I tell
Yes.
people I'm barely middle-aged now,
Uh-huh.
60.
No, I absolutely agree with that. And I just wanted to chime in about dementia because sugar, it glycates our body and it causes damage in every area, or it can cause damage in every area of our bodies. And the longer that we are living in this high carbohydrate, in inverted commas, so-called healthy diet, the more areas that this damage will turn up in. But we probably all heard the term type 3 diabetes, and that's dementia. And that's when your brain is starved of energy. Even though you're eating a lot of sugar, your brain, it's the insulin resistance of the brain, and it starts decades before the symptoms are actually shown. So if anyone is sort of sitting on the edge and thinking about coming in, that is a powerful reason, absolutely, to get started and to help your brain heal. You may have noticed I'm on a different background today. I'm not at home. I'm out and about. I'm joining today from my mobile phone. And I'm at a lovely, I'm in the UK, as you know, and there's a lovely area called Bath. It's very beautiful and green. And there's a massive garden. If you're following me on Facebook or Instagram, I'll put some pictures up because it's just been stunning. And we've eaten lots of meat at a huge table outside. And as I'm sitting there eating the meat and talking to people, I just feel, and the sun shining, which is a rare treat here in the UK, even in summer. It just, I'm just so grateful for this way of life where I know that every meal we're further healing our bodies. And I'd love to know, Amy, that you've had amazing results. You're looking amazing as a type 1 diabetic at 71. I'd love to know, what do you actually eat in a day, and how many times a day do you eat?
Well, since I'm an experimenter, so I can answer that now. Well, I experiment. So I love eggs and bacon. We called that our vegan recovery food. So I've been eating eggs and bacon for breakfast since I started keto, and I love that. My eggs are always sunny side up because I want a. But I've also been on the. So anyway, I'll answer it now. Sometimes I eat lunch. Some days go by and I just don't. If I don't have anything to do, I'll eat lunch and supper. I'll eat 3 meals a day. But often, and one really fun thing about the carnivore diet is being able to skip meals if it's just not convenient to eat. I didn't want to eat before this interview, so, and it was at 1 o'clock my time. So I just didn't eat. So anyway, sometimes I'll eat a burger and bacon, or a burger scramble, or chuck roast or brisket. It just depends. And sometimes it's 3 meals and sometimes it's 2 meals. But I often go on the lion diet quite often because I get so much more insulin sensitive on the lion diet. So I like to do that experiment and I pretend like I'm going to heal through it. I don't know, but so then my diet is mostly just eating beef, salt, and water. And so I don't take a lot of insulin anyway. I take about 10 units a day, which is not very much for a type 1 diabetic. But when I'm on the lion diet, I can take about 8 or 9 units. It's not a big difference, but the fact that on the lion diet, I don't need insulin overnight is always a big win for me. So it's a hard question to answer because I'm constantly changing.
Well, that I've heard similar answers that you lower your demand for insulin. I mean, 10 units it's like the first line on that little tiny needle. So that's the best to be at. And we only need insulin to get the protein into our cells and any carbs that our body is making into our cells, because fat doesn't really respond to insulin, and insulin is the fat storage hormone. We die without insulin. Too much insulin, we get heavy like type 2s. So it sounds like you've found exactly what's working for your individual body. What, Amy, do you have on special occasions like holidays? How do you navigate the holidays? Is it because you're an all-in kind of person like I am, at least for me, I do the same thing on the holidays. I don't change. I don't have a cheat meal. How about you?
Okay, I don't cheat. On a holiday, maybe I'll drink decaf. But mostly what I do is if I'm going to do something special, I make an oopsie cake. I make Kelly Hogan's recipe for an oopsie cake and I love it. The problem with it is nobody else wants it.
Right.
So I end up eating the whole thing and it takes me a whole week. And I'm still eating it while the raw cream is rotting in my refrigerator, and you can taste that a little bit. But anyway, I've also made a carnivore cheesecake, but I prefer the oopsie cake. It's really delicious, but you can ask almost any type 1 diabetic. Dairy will make you insulin resistant.
Right.
So I don't always do it.
I was going to ask you about the dairy sugar and how that affects you. It's less in heavy whipping cream, obviously, but it's still there. Especially
Right.
when you're
Well,
yeah, it's like 1
even
gram of carb per tablespoon, really. But
right.
how much are you putting in there?
Exactly. Like how much are you eating at one time
Right.
of that oopsie cake? I'm eating like a quarter of it, so it's quite a bit.
Right. And dairy has casomorphins, especially heavy whipping cream. And if you're like me, when I have dairy on my tongue, it registers like heroin, I think, like a drug. I want it. I want more and more. And it leads us to a question that we had further up. I don't know if Stephanie can find it. A person who has skin tags. Did you ever have any skin tags, Amy? When you at all? Okay. They asked how long it takes to get rid of skin tags. I used to have them. And they're a definite sign of insulin resistance. And they wanted to know how long until they fall off. I don't really know the answer to that question. You can Google that or Chat GPT, and it might be different for each person.
And I've heard of them falling off in just a couple of months, and then I've heard them taking longer, or it depends on how quickly you become insulin sensitive. That's what it's all about.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was interested when you said about what do you do as a treat or when do you go off? And at the moment, I've been running really good and I feel so delighted with myself. I've been having beef and eggs all the time and that's all I eat. But I was interested, you said, Amy, you feel even better when it's just beef, salt and water. And that's something I haven't tried. So maybe I will try that. Just to see whether removing the eggs make a difference, because I do feel that I might be a little bit sensitive to the eggs. John, I just wanted to ask you if you could do a few shout outs, because I'm on my phone. I've only got a little area, so I can't really see everybody who's on. And
I'll work my way up from the bottom here. We want to shout out to Meathead. I like that name. I'm actually writing my second book, and there's a phrase in there called meathead, referring to us carnivores because we eat meat. Papa Carnivore Peter is on the line here. Rick Charger Mopar from Miami, down the road from me, is here. Anthony, how you doing? We have, let's see, Rockin' Keto Amy. She asked one of the questions earlier. Shout out to Mighty Chang. They say, hi, folks. Let's see, who else do we have on here? The Primal Lifestyle.
I saw Carnivore Muscle. I saw his name go past.
I'm looking. I'm scrolling up here.
Jonathan, and he did an interview with me for my channel this week. Yeah? So hi to Jonathan.
Hi to Jonathan. And I think I said everybody now. I'm scrolling. It's the same names. Rock Roll. That person. Bacon Baby.
Mm.
T-Bow, T-B-A-U. I like that, like a T-bone steak, T-Bow. And I think that's about it.
And Lainey, I think I saw.
All right. It's hard to see here. Let's see.
Don't worry.
Does anyone else have any thoughts or questions for Amy, or about type 1 diabetes, or gaining muscle using her own body weight, or her foods that she eats? because she's our guest today. I know that we learn from one another, that's for sure. That's why we like to have different guests and hear their angle and perspective on what works for them. One size does not fit all. And we tend to, when we tell people, we try to say, you have to do it this way because it works for me. It's going to work for you. And we're all different. So I kind of take the common denominator from everybody and find a lot of similarities that we all follow.
I have a question for Amy. And Amy, I know that you coach a lot of people. Just tell us about the type of people you coach and some of the biggest wins that you've had in coaching, or some of the biggest mistakes you see that people are making.
Well, it's interesting. I have a group coaching. So I do group coaching mostly. I have done a little bit of individual coaching, but mostly it's a by the month group. And they are a mixture of type 1 diabetics, type 2 diabetics, and people who are just concerned about their blood sugar and wanting to not become a type 2 diabetic. So it's interesting because sometimes a type 1 diabetic can be, not sure what word, I won't use an adjective, but maybe it's judgmental of type 2s because it feels like the type 2 is self-inflicted. And if they would just correct their diet, they wouldn't have it anymore. And so I wanted to come at this group coaching by including all types of diabetes or all types of people who have a blood sugar issue, which actually we kind of all do because it's like your job as a human being to become as insulin sensitive as possible. It doesn't matter what your disease is called. And it doesn't matter if it's not really the same disease. A type 1 diabetic have died. A type 2 diabetic has become less sensitive to the insulin that they are making, probably in excess. So there's a huge difference. It's not the same disease at all, but we have a similar goal of becoming the best human we want to become. And that's by one big job is to become as insulin sensitive as possible. So that's basically what we talk about in the group. And what we have is we meet on Zoom once a week. And I have two groups, two times. They're both on Thursday. One is at 11 Eastern time and one is at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we meet for an hour and you can come to either of the groups, whichever is more convenient for you. And we also have a WhatsApp community so that we can we'll share like a YouTube video that we hear that's about insulin sensitivity, or we will share a picture. I shared a picture of my grandkids yesterday because they were in a performance, but we share stuff between us and we give each other support. And it's been really wonderful. We'll post a picture of our food, or, if one person is having trouble, wanting to eat in the evening, they might say something and we give them support, things like that. And it's been really great. And so I do that. And the only way you can sign up is to DM me on either YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. And that's how you join, because I don't have those fancy links.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, good to hear that. And I love hearing more people are out there coaching and teaching this work, because I always get so upset when I think people are having all of these complications of type 2 diabetes, but also type 1 diabetes, because they're not told this. They can go decades and, go to their 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond, and then never, ever heard from their doctor about how they could fix this with diet, for reasons that we won't get into again. But Amy, you've had a comment here. Papa Carnivore says, Amy, your hair is beautiful. And It absolutely is.
It is. And we have two women with beautiful hair on the screen. I mean, beautiful,
Thank
beautiful
you.
hair from someone who has no hair. I can appreciate that. We have a bacon baby comment here. Did you want to highlight that one there, Steph?
Okay, I'll see if I
It
can
says,
find it.
Amy and others, do you take creatine, leucine, or glycine? Someone said in one of their lives that glycine improved their sleep significantly. Glycine, like magnesium glycinate, glycine is a relaxing amino acid. I do know that. And it does help you relax and go to sleep. It actually lowers your body temperature a little bit. But I'm not sure about the other two. How about you, Amy? Do you use any of those?
I don't. I do take a few supplements. I went for many years carnivore without taking any supplements.
Mhm.
And then when I became 70, I started having easy bruising in my forearms and hands. This is what old people get. I mean, I'm still old, you know. I mean, I might look great at 70s, but I still, and my skin is thin. So it breaks easily if I bump into something, you know, it bleeds. So I've been working on those two things. So one thing I've tried with is eggshell membrane, which I don't take as a supplement. I just take the membrane out of the eggshell and put that with my eggs. But if I go on the lion diet, I won't be doing that. So who knows? I take beef organs, and I've actually added vitamin C with bioflavonoids to see if it helps with the red bruises that I get. Vitamin K, I'm looking at them right now. I take inositol and L-theanine, and that's supposed to be for like lowering your cortisol, I think. So it's supposed to be good for your blood sugar. I haven't felt anything from those, but I still take them. And I take for my iodine, I take
Oh,
but it is
Can you repeat
NACE,
that? You cut out a little bit there, Amy, about the iodine. What do you take for iodine?
it's called detoxidine. It's a different form of iodine. It's nascent iodine instead of can't remember what
Does it
everybody else is
does it say
taking.
where it comes from? Like what the origin is? Is it sea kelp or
I don't know, and the print is really
it's a
little.
dropper bottle? It's a
It's
liquid.
a
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, okay,
it's a dropper.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Iodine is
It's not
not
Lugol's
Lugol's.
iodine.
Okay.
It is detoxidine. It is nascent. I don't really know what the why or anything, but I just like the person who recommended it to me.
All right. I do
And
know that if we don't eat shrimp or some seafood, and we don't use iodized salt, we probably should supplement with a little extra iodine from a dropper bottle uh, for our thyroid health. Very, very important.
I can't see the tiny little
Uh,
print, even with my readers.
I put two readers. That's all right. That is a good question, though. I appreciate that to hear because different people we experiment with different things. Mine, I usually experiment with minerals like magnesium or glycine or theanine, leucine, things like that. A lot of people rave about creatine. She mentioned creatine, and since you push against your body weight, you don't do creatine. Okay, that might be
No,
one
I
you
don't.
might
I mean,
consider.
I have taken it in the
Oh, you
past
have. All right.
many years ago, and I just haven't picked it up again. I don't know. You know, I'm kind of I don't know. Unless I have a reason for
Right.
it, you know, I'm not sure why I would take it, but you know, I'm not I think I'm pretty open-minded about supplements, but it did take me a while to want to take supplements at all because I know a lot of people do carnivore and they don't take any supplements. But I don't like fish and I don't often eat steak because of the cost. So there may be something I'm lacking. You know, I eat a lot of ground beef, I eat a lot of brisket, I eat a lot of chuck roast.
Well, that's meat. That's the same
So, you
as a
know,
steak.
I don't eat steak. If I ate steak, it would be a very special occasion.
All right.
So If am I missing anything? I don't know.
You would feel it. Or if you do blood work, your blood work would show it. There's another question there, for Steph, if you can find that one from Rockin' Keto Amy. Taking a PhD coaching class. Says, I'm starting a PhD coaching class in a week. Do you have any advice for new health coaches? Good question.
That's a great question. And Amy and I have met. Well, I met Amy already on Instagram. So that's another great place to follow Amy. And I love the content you put out there. So real, and also often includes very cute pictures from your family. Amy, remind us what your Instagram name is in case anybody wants to follow you there.
Okay, so it's just my name, Amy Fields Perrin. And I used to be the butter eater underscore T1D, but I quit so I could do the lion diet. I changed that. I used to eat butter mixed with whey and colostrum and chocolate chips for my supper for years. So one of my friends referred to me as, my friend Amy, the butter eater. So that became my Instagram. And I often think maybe I should have kept that, but I changed it because I wanted to go lion. So, you have to spell my name Aimee and then Fields, my maiden name, and Perrin, Perrin. And that's who I am on Facebook and on Instagram. And I just figured it was easy to just be the same thing on both platforms. When I decided to change my Instagram handle.
Okay.
Yes. I was going to say something which I've now forgotten.
Well, I know what you were probably going to say. On my 71st birthday, I posted a picture of me in a bikini.
Yes.
And I didn't even think anything about it. I mean, I used to pose nude for my husband, and I posed for 36 years in different kind of paintings, and I'm not real conscious of my body as sexual. It's just, that's how I look. So I just had my bathing suit on and I took a picture. But at the same exact time, I started making reels on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I suddenly got 500 new followers on Instagram. And I'm like, are they following me because I now post reels, or are they following me because I put this almost naked picture of myself? And I don't know, but I did get a few not very nice comments. I don't know. It was pretty funny though. I mean, I got a laugh out of it, and I don't really think of my body like that, and I was very surprised. But anyway, it's out there.
Yeah, well, I think that's good at any age, but at 71, it's amazing. And,
It is.
Everybody's now dashing across to Amy's
Right. I was just going to say, everybody's like, what is that called again?
But we forgot the advice for this coaching. That's what we were talking
Yeah.
about.
The advice. I'll tell you my advice, and it has been because I have not eaten sugar since I was 16 years old. I don't have a lot of empathy for people who have a sugar addiction. And I have had to educate myself because there's a lot of people out there with a food addiction or a sugar addiction. And I think with coaching, the most important thing is for you to be able to have empathy for the struggles that people are going through. And so I've worked really hard on how I approach people, and I've worked really hard at learning to become empathetic and to learn about sugar and carb addiction. So I think that's and to answer the questions that they have for you. A lot of times I go into a group coaching, I don't even have a plan. I just want to hear from them what they need. And what I've done over the many years that I've been into health and nutrition is just educate myself. So I end up just kind of knowing things because I've been so curious about health and nutrition through the years that I end up just kind of knowing things, but it's also to keep researching and to keep listening to stories. Like I listen to every Dave Mack interview he's ever had
Aren't they great? Yeah.
because I want to know people. I want to know where they come from. I want to know their stories. I want to know what carnivore can do. So it's not like my education is finished. I just, I want to keep learning. And I think that's the biggest thing with, with being a health coach.
Coaching is teaching, and being available for your students and followers. And we're never, being a student never ends to the day you die. We're always learning. And I love that you mentioned Dave Mack, because oh my gosh, do we learn so much from everybody's stories, not just on his channel, but every story is unique. Everybody's struggle is different. And there are so many people who see themselves in some of these other people, and they find hope and answers to questions they've had for decades, and they get relief. Of course, carnivore is our answer. So I smile because I'm excited about that. We're coming.
Before we finish,
Yeah.
I'd like to mention 2 Facebook groups.
Okay.
The first one is called Type 1 Diabetic Carnivores. There's a whole lot more of Type 1 diabetic carnivores on Facebook in this group. And we have 2,000 or 3,000 people who have joined that group. They're either a parent of a type 1 diabetic or they are a type 1 diabetic themselves, and they get a lot of support and information from that Facebook group. And then there's another one, if you're crazy enough to think you can heal, there's a group called Healing Type 1 Diabetes. And there are a few parents with children who were diagnosed who were able to get off of insulin because they put them on either a carnivore diet or a very low carb diet, and the child never had to take insulin. There are some adults. It seems like if you were diagnosed after the age of 25, and if you act quickly, you might be able to avoid insulin dosing. But it's something we discuss a lot on that Facebook page, Healing Type 1 Diabetes. So just wanted to make sure that I put those out there today.
That's good. I guess it's based on the person's beta cells and if they have anything that's working still when it comes to
Right.
that.
Exactly.
Excellent. We are at 2 minutes left. So we'll go around this huge circle of people here and just share where we can be found we'll start with you, Amy. You mentioned it earlier, but do it again for anybody who joined later.
Okay. My YouTube channel is Brisket Boomers. My Instagram is Amy Fields Perrin. My Facebook is Amy Fields Perrin, and it's AIMEE F as in Frank IELDS Perrin PERRIN. And I pay very close attention to all my DMs or messages. I never let something go, so I'll always answer you. Actually, if you want to see the paintings that I've been in, you can follow my husband's account, which is Dennis Perrin Fine Art, if you're so inclined.
Thanks,
Because
Amy.
I still do his social media, even though he's no longer with us.
Oh, lovely. Well, that's the lovely thing, is the art lives on forever. So thanks, Amy, for being here and sharing your story today. I've really loved hearing it, and I know that it's one of inspiration for so many people who are type 1 diabetics and others. And I'm inspired to know that at the age of 71 I could still be looking ripped like you do. So I'm Stephanie Taylor. It's been great being here with you today. I'm at Happy Sexy Health on YouTube. and Instagram and all of the other places. So that's it from me. Over to you, John.
All right. And I'm a Carnivore Teacher on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and X and Threads and anything else you can find me on. I put a mini lesson out every day. I do interviews. We do this every Sunday with guests. And I'm just trying to pay it forward because other people did, and I found them transform my life. So hopefully I could do that for other people as well. And do we know who's coming on next Sunday, Steph?
Sorry, because I'm not at my
You don't have your list
desk,
with you. Okay.
I don't have my list.
That's all right. That's all right. But please, viewers, anybody else, make sure that you come back every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time in the United States and 6 p.m. in the UK. Figure out the time zones if you're somewhere else. And I just love this. I get so much energy from this. Amy, thank you so much for coming on and your story. It was great to meet you.
Thank you so much. I really
All right.
enjoyed it.
Let's stay on after we end this so we can do our little after party for a couple minutes. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Steph.
Okay, bye.